Welcome in, everyone. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment. You need to click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. On the YouTubes here, you can find me on X. You can find me on X Twitter. You can find me J Kim. Welcome in. You can obviously find me on YouTube. You can find me on TradingView and even Instagram for some gym motivation. It's one word. It is Crypto Bull God. Guys, this should be the last live stream I'm doing prior to returning to the home office, which is great because I know all of you have bared with me through the challenges of operating on a laptop screen and having the horrendous audio that I have. I find myself having to not get as excitable while using the headphones here and the audio because it just comes through very distorted. So I really can't be myself. So I'm looking forward to getting back and kind of live streaming in the usual setup. Wanted to give you my thoughts in terms of the volatility that we're seeing today and why it's not surprising to me. And I'll tell you how I reacted, which may actually I don't think it'll surprise you once Bitcoin started going up to 70,000. Let's see who we have in the live stream. Jay Kim was first. Track, always good to see you, my friend. Kevin, welcome in. Happy Friday indeed. Hoping to enjoy a happy hour later today. Rory, I gave you a shout out. I don't know if you saw that on X the other day. Did want to point this out to you, my friend. ARC 12-hour potential bull flag target 28 cents. Looking to establish a small swing trade play at about 11 cents. Thank you, Rory, from All in the Charts. I have a great community, so I wanted to make sure that you saw that, my friend. Welcome in, Brendan. Really good to see you live, man. I know it's challenging given the time zone difference, but very happy to see you on the live stream. John, welcome in. I see a let's fucking go. So, guys, let's talk about the volatility that we're seeing. We're going to assess a few charts going into the weekend and kind of keep an eye in terms of what to watch for. So, now, no matter what the expectation was in terms of what would happen when Bitcoin started to break up towards its prior all-time high, it was still a beautiful thing to see it hit $70,000, which is why I posted out what I did. And I knew no matter the outcome, if it did what I least expected versus most expected, I knew there was going to be a lot of volatility, which would make for a very interesting live stream. So let me set the stage for you because you couldn't see me, obviously, in terms of how I reacted. So I'm staying here. I'm not in my current residence, and I'm with my girlfriend, right? And I said it did it. It broke $70,000. And she got excited, and she said, "Why don't you seem excited?" And I said, "Eh." I was like, "This just feels like a fake out." I said, "This just seems way too early." Based on the charts I'm looking at here, I'm expecting a rejection and some sort of high-level volatility to come into play. Lo and behold, within 5 minutes, that is exactly what happened. So why was this type of price action not surprising for me? I'm going to go to one main chart that I've been sharing with you guys that I'm using for purposes of evaluation of where we're at. Now, I've spoken to the pi cycle, right? And I think most of you guys here are familiar. We spent a great amount of time. I forget what day it was. What day was it? It must have been Monday's live stream. I spent a good deal amount of, or maybe it was Wednesday's live stream. I spent a good amount of time talking about the pi cycle. And if we look at the point in time at which we're at, we can see this slow period moving average is basically, I mean, the way you can think of it is we're at our prior all-time highs. It's at 68,400. Okay, so it's essentially at 69,000. Now, if we go back in time, we can see the last time we came up to the slow period moving average, the blue line on the pi cycle, we had problems with it, right? We had some initial challenges. We didn't touch it there. We essentially touched it there. And then we finally broke through. I would say we broke through on the third retest because we didn't really touch it here. So this was once, twice, And on the third daily candle, because the pi cycle I'm looking at here, it's on the daily. In the third occurrence, we broke through, right? So if we go to current time, I'm not telling you it needs to be the exact number of occurrences, but what we have done, this is taking forever. What we have done here, we came up, we technically closed slightly above it, but then we instantly got rejected. And we've come up now multiple times, but it's not just that we've had multiple touches here, okay? And I'm not even telling you that we can't close above this line today. I'm not saying that. But this is happening even for me too quickly than what history would suggest, okay? So I'm sort of expecting to kind of hang out in this region again until at least next week, all right? Until at least next week. And then we can definitively get above it and start pushing higher. Again, could you see a candle body close today at $69,000 or above? Yes, I think that's absolutely possible. But again, I'm just trying to share with you what I think is most and least likely in the shorter term here. Don't miss the fact that, again, let me show you what the wrong perspective is to have. This individual, and if you're watching, I don't mean this as any slight towards you. This is the type of mentality that tells me this person is not going to do well. Where was the comment at? Ah, maybe they deleted their response. And we dumped. So in yesterday's live stream, this is in response to Caspa. In yesterday's live stream, what I was trying to impress upon everyone was that the charts were telling us that Caspa is at an opportune time to be reaccumulating. And you're going to be kicking yourself a month or two down the road if you don't take that opportunity right now. And this individual's response to me was, and we dumped. If that is honestly your perspective and the way you're choosing to look at things, you're not going to make it very far in this market. There's a lot of high degree of volatility. I don't want to get what cannot get lost on everyone here, and I'm just so emphatic about this. It doesn't, guys, it doesn't matter if we close today above 69 or 70,000, or it happens next week, or even the week after that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Macro view, guys, zoom out. I'm trying to tell you expectations in the short term. It has not changed the expectations in the long term, meaning the next several months. Okay, it doesn't matter if we close above it today or next week or the following week. Don't lose perspective on all. I have shared so many macro charts with you that show you that most likely we're setting up for a continued parabolic trajectory, and your altcoins are going to be going crazy sooner rather than later, as early as this month, based on what I've shared with you. So if you're getting caught up in initial rejection here and volatility, like you're not going to do well. You're just not going to do well. And I have found, being in this market for a long time and having the experience I have, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, it really takes, like with many things in life, it takes life's experiences to teach you things, right? So it's one thing to analyze something from afar and come to a conclusion. It's another thing to actually be invested in the space and have skin in the game, and then all those human emotions show up, right? So if you're getting fearful or moody regarding the rejection today, guys, I'm not saying you have to be at a point where you're experienced enough where you were expecting it, but you need to get to a point where this doesn't bother you, because this daily price action that you saw on 30 minutes, if you want to have fun with it, look at this 30-minute rejection candlestick here. Again, I saw the volume coming in, and I said this just doesn't seem right, and then we got the rejection, right? If this is what you're caught up on, and this instead is not your view, like, you are literally going to miss out. So just keep perspective here, macro, that there's nothing changing. And like I said to you, this is the whole reason that once we started to break $70,000, even though I took a screenshot and I posted it on Instagram and had fun with it, it is a definite sign. I will say this. I'm having fun with it because I've never seen the price that high, nor have you, because it's never happened. And it's great to see. It's exciting. But again, I was heavily leaning towards a rejection, and we got it, right? So it'll be interesting to see where we close here. But again, once we start, the thing you want to watch for on this price cycle, what I was trying to hit on, once you start seeing definitive candle body closes above that 68,400 area, that is when things are going to heat up very quickly. Now, again, I've spoken to this before, but when you have an area of price confluence, an area of price confluence in this case is a moving average. The confirming candlestick is the preceding candlestick. So even though this candlestick here closed above slightly, we rejected, right? So if we close above today, Saturday needs to stay above for confirmation of a continued uptrend, right? Don't get weeded out here, guys. This would be the worst point in time to get weeded out. It is true. It is a true perspective to have that, unfortunately, if you were sitting on your hands back here, it is unfortunate. If you were sitting on your hands all back here and even here, it is unfortunate. But even here, at this point in the cycle here, even at this point, Bitcoin, you have to understand, and I've shared this fact with you guys as well, keep this perspective. Bitcoin has not broken above its all-time high, sustained price action above it, and started to push higher, right? That is when you're going to see the biggest run in your altcoins. This is nothing. This is a warm-up. You have not seen anything yet, guys. Okay? When you see Bonk up 50, 60, 70%, those are the types of gains that you're going to begin seeing in all of your altcoins. Yes, all of your altcoins. A rising tide lifts all boats. So I just caution you to remain very, very, very unemotional and logical about this entire price movement that we're seeing today. So what would I like to see going into the weekend? Well, let's take a look first at the relative strength. If I'm not going to speak to this chart, I should get off of it, right? Let's speak to the relative strength, and I'm not going to speak to this one either. Let's get to the relative strength of altcoins. Let's get to Ethereum. Let's take a look at, because again, it's very critical that we understand how Ethereum is behaving. Because that's going to be that leading indicator in terms of what we can expect for altcoins. Yes, I was looking up dog with hat to see where it was at market cap wise. Pretty crazy. I do not own any of that meme coin, unfortunately. We've broken out above all of these areas of resistance that we've spoken to. Again, this is why it pays to be patient, guys. Now, this I'm going to keep red because next week will be our confirming candlestick, which is at 3,600. We've cleared 3,600. Where is Ethereum at? Where are we at? 3,900. We're just below 4,000. Okay, just below 4,000. Now, 4,000 is going to be your psychological level. I believe the most bullish case scenario for Ethereum is you see some sort of a strong impulsive move this weekend. Which, by the way, I did want to tell you, if you guys haven't been here for a while, a lot of the big moves that do occur in this market when we start to get to this part of the cycle, they do occur over the weekend. So don't be surprised if it's this weekend or next weekend, you start seeing some strong movements in Ethereum and or Bitcoin and some of these altcoins. I mean, big movements. The most bullish case scenario for Ethereum is we get a weekly close at or above the psychological level of $4,000. But really, anywhere above $3,600 to $3,800 is what I'm looking for. Okay, if we go to a 2-week, actually, I'll keep it on the weekly for a second. I want to assess something here. I want to draw in another area of resistance here. Right. Is it right about there? See, it's kind of hard to tell. I have to zoom in here. Where did we close there? 39.50. It's basically 3,600, but we'll make it 3,950. Okay, now what would happen if we got a candle body close above 3,950? That would be the highest weekly close we have seen since December of 2021. I mean, so you're talking 2.5 years there. So if we can manage, that's the most bullish case scenario. Okay. God damn, TradingView is not cooperating today. The most bullish case scenario is by Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we get a close above 3,950. 3,950 or above. Doesn't need to be 4,000. 3,950 or above. That would be monumentally bullish. But at the very least, we want to hold 36 to 3,800. How can you not look at this chart and not see that Ethereum is gaining momentum? Again, this technical target that I have drawn here with the orange line up towards all-time highs at 4,600, 4,700, that's just the technical target from the ascending triangle drawn on the 2-week that we've been talking about for like, I don't even know how long we've been talking about this, for what, a year? Probably a year since last year around April or March. So that's just the technical target. Obviously, once we start to come up to 4,900, it's going to be interesting to see if we can cut through it like a hot knife through butter, if we're going to get resistance. That's what you want to watch for on Ethereum. If we take a look at the relative health of Ethereum BTC, because again, it's very important that you stay on top of these charts. This is going to give you indication of how strong the altcoin market is. Again, nothing unexpected here. We're riding this trend, so everything is going according to plan. If we go to let's go to total 2. Now, this is going to be everything except for Bitcoin. So this does include Ethereum. We haven't looked at this one, I think, in a while. I mean, you can tell we haven't evaluated. I think we used the Gaussian channel view on this one, but I just want to look at a straight up view on this and see what we are seeing. Look at this perfect back test, guys. You can't. I haven't altered these charts since I've looked at them with you. I have a line drawn at 950 billion. Look what happened when we cleared 950. We came up, back tested 950 perfectly, and then started riding up. Clearly, CBG drew a very nice line of price confluence at 950 billion, right? So what would I be looking for on total 2? I think total 2 is another chart you're going to want to monitor this weekend for those of you who can read charts. I'm going to draw a range for you. Of course, I know I see the post out on Twitter. You can draw in some fib retracements, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to look at, and those are value added, by the way. I'm just going to look at price confluence today, though. So really, once we start pushing up towards 1.2 to 1.4 trillion, that's when things are going to start getting spicy. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I also want you to note something. Look at the trajectory of the chart. Do you notice anything? Just based on the trajectory of the candlesticks, it lends credibility or credence to the notion that we truly are about to enter a parabola. Okay? Why do I say that? This movement up here was it was nice, but it was kind of dull, faded. This was a pretty strong movement up, consolidation. Look at how sharp this price movement is. Now, what I am expecting, if you want to know what I'm expecting, what I am expecting is a catch-up for the altcoins relative to Bitcoin. Okay? I'm sure you've seen some of that chatter on X if you're very active. The altcoins based on this chart, think about it. Bitcoin is all the way up here retesting its prior all-time high, right? Look at how much catch-up altcoins have to do. Now, keep in mind, this should really frame things up for you very well. Not only does this market cap in totality have catch-up to do just to get to the all-time high, but altcoins on average, the total market share, is going to outperform Bitcoin. So think about how much market appreciation, how much rate of appreciation is available potentially on this chart relative to Bitcoin. So what I'm saying, I'll state this a little bit differently if that didn't make sense. Just to catch up to Bitcoin, I'm saying the total market has to go up. This is total market. Obviously, it's weighted average, so your smaller tokens are going to ride a lot harder than this. Just to catch up to Bitcoin, we have to go up roughly 50%. Then I'm saying, let's just say that you assume Bitcoin's going to double from all-time highs. Let's just say you think it's going up to like 130, right? Well, this has 50% plus another 100%, okay? But then it's going to outperform Bitcoin. So just how high is this going to go? Just how high is this going to go? What, 4 trillion? It's going to get very, very, very interesting. Keep in mind, the last blow off top was all the way up here at 1.7 trillion. So we're going to at least double that, in my opinion. At least double that. Let's take a look at total 3. Now, again, this should be even more interesting. We'll take a look at the Gaussian here. Oh, guys, this is so beautiful to look at. You know, for those of you who've been tuning into this live stream for a long period of time, Jesus, I can imagine, I can recollect when we were all the way down here, right? Oh, my God, it's been a long time coming, guys. You got to enjoy this moment. We're right up here in this zone. Why do you think we're getting rejected here? I didn't draw this area of price confluence and pull it out of my butt, right? I mean, this is a clear area of resistance that I drew. We want to see, I think the most bullish scenario that you could see for total 3 this weekend would be to clear roughly 700 billion. We're sitting at 695. If we can close at 700 billion or above, that would be awesome, because that would be the first weekly close we've seen above 700 billion since April of 2022. It is 2 years ago, okay? And again, if we look at total 3, let's just zoom out. Let's go to a monthly and consolidate price action. How much catch-up do we have to do to get to Bitcoin? Now remember, by catch-up, I mean Bitcoin is all the way up here. So just to catch up, your little altcoins that are so much more volatile and have so much more price potential appreciation to the upside, they have to catch up by 62%, okay? And then how much are they going to outperform? I mean, where is this chart headed? You know, let's have some fun here. Let's actually take a look at that together. How high could we potentially go? Well, again, this is part. Now, the way the wave count works here is that, and you can see all the volume down here supporting this notion. These are just routine things I've spoken to. You can see the impulsive structure in the RSI, the MACD, all these things, the RSI in particular. So the way you would appropriately draw the trend-based fib extension will discount the amount of volatility here. So how am I drawing this? Let me quickly show you guys what's going on here. Let's see where this is at. This is actually an important point. Okay, perfect. Shit. One, two, I'm not going all the way to the bottom of this COVID wick to account for the volatility. 3, 4, and we'll say 5. Okay? Now, again, why am I not counting wave 3 to the top here from an Elliott wave principle perspective? Because, once again, for those who haven't caught this, this was part of an irregular flat correction, expanded flat correction, which actually results in this B wave superseding the third impulsive wave by about 5%. Okay, so that's part of a corrective structure, and we're not going to go into that again. I've spent too much time talking about that. But in theorizing where this could go, accounting for some of this volatility down here, I'm not going to account for. We'll just say the bottom's right about here. And again, I'm not making this perfect, but last market cycle, we had an impulsive top, an impulsive structural top at just short of $1 trillion. The corrective wave took us north of $1 trillion and took us up to 1.1 trillion. Okay? If we can hit the minimum target is a 1.618 fib extension. Now, we're talking about total 3. Total 3 are going to be the more volatile, comprised mainly, actually total 3, excuse me, that's not your others. Total 3 removes, apologies, total 3 is not looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, so you got those top 10s in there. But still, you're going to have a lot of volatility in there. So I would say at minimum, it's a 2.618. At maximum, it's anywhere between a 3 to a 5. Okay, so anywhere between a 3.7 and a 5.6. Now, it'd be interesting. Can't say the last time I looked at this. What did we actually reach last time? Wow, well, that one fucked hardery high. Holy shit. Our third, I didn't even realize this. I don't think I looked at this. We went all the way above a 9.618 fib extension. Wow. Okay. Not counting on that this time. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I didn't realize that. Point is, just to catch up to prior all-time highs, we have to go up, like I said, 62%. Your altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. So we have a ton of catch-up to do, and the most bullish thing here we can see is a close above 700 billion. I do want to see what price action we're getting right now. See if anything's sticking out. Of course, some of these memes are running again. Of course, all this also falls back on Bitcoin dominance. Something I want you guys to pay particular attention to this weekend is Bitcoin dominance. This is a chart that you need to continue to have on your radar in the coming weeks here. Now, what do I think is going to play out here? Very simple. I think, as you can see, we've triple topped right up here towards 55% in dominance for Bitcoin. Now, you might say we're done and we're going to roll over. And you're not going to get a huge argument from me on that. Maybe we have topped and we're not going much further than 55. I think what's going to happen is we're at least going to try to make a run towards 58. And that's going to happen as Bitcoin really does securely break out above 70. Okay, it's gonna have a 10% day or more, and I believe that Bitcoin's going to initially have its impulsive top somewhere in the mid to high 70s to low 80s before we roll over for a wave 4 correction, kind of go into that 5th impulsive wave, because each Elliott wave structure in those impulsive wave structures, the 1, the 3, and the 5, they are comprised of 5 subwaves. We're in the midst of the 3rd wave within our broader 5th wave. Okay? And so what I'm saying to you is the 3rd wave is going to top somewhere in between the mid 70s to low 80s, in my opinion. So as Bitcoin's making that final run up, wherever it tops, 74, 77, 82, wherever it tops, after it does that, money's going to start flowing into the alts. You're going to have retail coming in and buying penny tokens because they have to go to $1, and you're going to see dominance start to fall down, right? Now, that's just the first run, in my opinion. This is just the first run, and we'll find a floor. We'll find a floor. Maybe we come all the way down to here. You know, people are saying it's creating a higher low, and Bitcoin's just going to take over. No, Bitcoin's going to, again, it's going to go into its blow-off top. It's going to top a lot earlier than people think. And that's when you're going to get your final and last leg in these altcoins, and they're going to go fucking ballistic. That is my view at the moment. You know, that's my primary view because I've continued to come out here consistently and say the same thing. But I'm very, again, open to the idea, very, very open to the idea that I could be incorrect. And we may not top until the end of this year or early 2025. And that's why I'm going to get that video out for the indicators I'm looking for to tell me we've had an impulsive movement up. Things look like they could be topping. Okay, I have 5 things flashing. That's telling me that most likely we've topped, and I'm at least going to start scaling some of my position out. Okay, so I will share that with you as soon as I can get that video made, either by next week or at latest very, very early the following week. In fact, let me give you a date. So I get back home on the 11th. I'll either have it out late this week of the 11th, or I'll have it out the very beginning of the week of the 18th. So be on the lookout for that. Any other charts I can share with you guys? Let me see who is in the live stream right now. Track, hopefully my explanation made sense on that. We just got to be patient. You know, what's going on here in terms of the interaction with the all-time high, it's amazing how much people forget history. All you have to do is look left. Just look left at the historical data, and it tells you everything that you need to know in terms of what it's done in the past. That's the only precedent we can use to determine, you know, what is most and least likely moving forward. It just, and I'm not saying you're saying this, by the way, Track. I know you're not, but it amazes me how many people will want certainty from a technical analyst. No technical analyst can provide you with certainties. If you're following anyone who's telling you with 100% conviction and being absolutely definitive about something and saying they know something's going to happen, run the other way. That person needs to get humbled because no one knows with 100% certainty what's going to happen in the market. We're just talking probabilities here. So again, I was expecting a rejection here. It would surprise me very much. I will tell you this: if we close today at or above 69,500 to 70,000, I will be very surprised. I will be very surprised if we close at those levels. Not out of the realm of possibilities, but I think we're just going to get a little bit of rejection here and again, consolidation, and either break above it next week or the following week. That is my view. But don't lose perspective on the bigger picture, guys. Who the hell cares if it's next week or the following week? Chris Daly, XLM, again, $10, that's not realistic. We need to start looking to 1,000. Okay, XLM to $1,000, guys. All you need is 100 XLM to be a millionaire. That's all you need. Actually, my math isn't good on that. That would only be 100,000. All you need is 1,000 XLM to be a millionaire. That's all you need. Just go out and buy 1,000 XLM. Not financial advice, clearly. But there are. It's funny. There actually are. And Chris knows I'm joking around. There are fucktards out there who actually put out material speaking to XLM and XRP going to $100 plus and all this fucktardery. Again, I'm not telling you someday down the road in 10 years XRP couldn't be $100. I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you 10 or 15 years it couldn't. But let's live in the realm of reality and real world possibilities and probabilities in the next, several months, year, even 2 years. It's not happening. It's not happening. So, but I do enjoy every time you join the live stream, Chris, and bring the humor with XLM. You know what I should do? I'll take a realistic look with XLM with you, a revised look at some point soon here. Hey, Brendan, good to have you on the live stream. Just glad you tuned in. In your crypto experience, how long does alt season last? Well, let's just go to the past. We'll look at two altcoins to answer your question. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum really started to take off with this candlestick. This was in late December. This was also the time frame, I believe, when Bitcoin was breaking its all-time high. Let's go back in time. Pretty sure it coincided. Yeah, Bitcoin had just broken out above its all-time high. Now, did Ethereum, is this a new all-time high for Ethereum? 1,050. I don't think that was its all-time high. Yeah, it wasn't until up here. So it lagged Bitcoin. But really, you can see, and I'm so glad you asked this question, Track, because I think a lot of people. Let me get to the questions here. I'll have time to answer the questions here. I see a few coming in, and then we're gonna call it a weekend. I was trying to see if there were any other charts I want to take a look at. But these are important questions. Make sure you hang around for the answers to this because I know a lot of you have a lot of the same questions. If you're asking me the question of how long does alt season last, all we literally have to do is go to historical data, okay? Now, we could also go to 2017 But let's just look at 2020 as our one sample set. Okay. So really, alt season began right here, starting with Ethereum, right? And it lasted all the way up until here. So how much time was this? It was late December to really early May, mid May. Let's just say mid May. So it was January, February, March. Really? January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, it was 5 months. It was a little longer than I thought. So Ethereum really started having its biggest moves for 5 months. Once it broke all-time highs, if we go to a Harmony 1, look at how the money starts to flood into the altcoin market. So if we go to 1, which was one of the biggest runners, from last cycle, I haven't looked at this chart in a while. As Ethereum was making its big moves, guys, and you have to keep this in mind with your smaller altcoins. Remember I said late December, look what 1 is doing, nothing. In fact, it's going down in value. But then starting in January, that's when it had its big run, right? So for me and a lot of these smaller tokens, the alt season started to begin at the very beginning of January, all the way up until the end of March. So that was really like January. It was like 3 full months. So in this case, what we can say, depending where you're invested and what point you begin to invest in, alt season is really anywhere, I would call it 3 to 4 months. I would say 3 to 4 months. You could say 5 months, but 3 to 4 months. So I believe we've already begun to enter that part of the cycle. Okay, so if we're looking at March, we got March, we got April, we got May, and I think as we start to get into June, that's when you're going to get some corrections coming into the market, perhaps. Again, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt because we have to allow the charts to play out. But that would sort of line up. That would sort of line up with when I expect Bitcoin topping. Because again, my sweet spot for Bitcoin topping would be between May and July, right? So if you have alts doing these big mega runs in March through May, and then Bitcoin kind of so what happens? This is more important. The narrative. What is the narrative? The narrative first will be Bitcoin making a new all-time high. Let's say it initially tops at $77,000, right? 77. Let's call it 77. So it tops out at $79,000. Now what happens is it begins to correct. Altcoins steal the show. That's the narrative. Everything you're reading about all these altcoins, they start running in March, April, and May. But then Bitcoin, as it's just going through a little correction there, maybe it comes down to, I don't know what it comes down to, 62,000, 65,000, 69,000, I don't know. It again starts to resume its uptrend, then it starts to steal capital from the altcoins and it steals the show. So it starts resuming its uptrend and has its blow off top, if I'm correct in my main hypothesis, let's say July 1st. And then after it starts to show signs of topping and it hits, let's say, what do I have here for fun? Just for fun, people, for fun, 125,368. So it tops out at 125,368, and around that time, not exact, even before then, but around that time as it starts to create lower lows and lower highs, money is feeding into the altcoins again. Altcoins steal the show. We run into another alt season in July going into August, and that's when it's all done with, guys. All done with. So you get kind of 2 alt seasons in there. Now the other scenario 2, alternative scenario, would be just for it to get extended a bit, right? So maybe Bitcoin's final blow-off top doesn't occur until the 4th quarter of this year, or maybe as late as the 1st quarter, which I really don't see happening, but the 1st quarter of 2025, okay? So you just would drag everything out. Just like how some of this, I mean, quite frankly, if you guys have been here for a while, you know this, just like the price action that we saw here, you guys know this if you've been following me. I thought we had bottomed here. Okay, when we saw this wick down to 17.7, no, we ended up consolidating more and went all the way down to, the high $15,000 area, and then we started. So what I'm trying to say to you is, look where I thought most likely we had bottomed, here in June. Okay, and we ended up bottoming in November. So that was 5 months later. So what if I'm 5 months off again? What if we don't top in June or July? What if we top in November or December? So more important that you understand where the market's at, that you can read charts, and understanding, are we seeing a final potential blow off impulsive top? And that's where I'm here to help. I'm just going to take everything that I've accumulated in knowledge, share it with you in one concise video, and share with you what my topping indicators are. Very straightforward. No, my targets on Ethereum have not changed, although I'd like to revisit that with you, Chris. Give me a moment to kind of gather my thoughts on that and share that on a stream next week. I think it's a great question, and I'd be happy next week to kind of take a look at some realistic targets with you. But I believe the last time I looked at Ethereum, what I was looking at was somewhere in that $8,000 to $12,000 area. Pretty sure $8,000 to $12,000 kind of rings a bell for me. But we'll take a look at that together and ask the question, what's realistic? Again, I'm in the small minority that thinks that Ethereum is going to temporarily flip Bitcoin, right? That it's going to break out of this massive wedge, this massive accumulation that's been occurring since 2017. We're going to at least hit this orange line, which would result in Bitcoin flipping Ethereum, or Ethereum flipping Bitcoin, and then eventually just roll over. But I could see Ethereum being the number one coin for part of a day or a whole day. I could see that. Absolutely. Come back for Tau, my friend. Ragborn, come back for Tau. I can chart it on Tuesday. I do Tuesday and Thursdays TAQ&A. It's in price discovery. I can't tell you how high it's going to go. It's like you told me, if you asked me how high Casp is going to go, I can't. I came up with a logical price range, I think, between $2 to $4. I think $2 to $4 is very reasonable for Caspa. But I have not looked at Tau in that way, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, 10,000 was the average. Yeah, I don't think 10,000 is unrealistic whatsoever, especially when you assess the market cap of what it would be. If we do some quick math, think about it this way. I don't have my calculator on me. But if you took a look at Bitcoin being up at 120,000, you're looking at it being roughly a $2.5 trillion market cap. Ethereum at 10,000 would be roughly a 1 trillion market cap. I actually kind of like that. Yeah, so Ethereum at, again, quick math in my head. I'm very good with math in my head. Ethereum at roughly 10,000 would put it at 1 trillion, which I think is very, very reasonable. So if you go up to 12,000, obviously that'd be roughly 1.2 trillion. So we will have to see, guys. All right, that's what's cooking. That's going to do it for the live stream today. I hope you appreciated the content. If anything insane happens this weekend, count on me live streaming on Sunday. You can count on that. No matter what, I will live stream Sunday if something crazy happens. If not, though, just want to let you know that Monday I will be traveling, and I will not be live streaming. And that what that means is that Tuesday I'll probably do an extended all in the charts, where I'll cover some charts and I'll of course take your questions. I will also be back in my home office. I'm so excited to get back to the normal setup, because I do not like this setup. I like where I'm at. I just don't like the setup. It quite frankly sucks. So, Big Boy Crypto, thanks for all you do. You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome, Track. Yeah, guys, before you tune out, if you're new to the channel, what I would say to you is this. This is a smaller channel. I understand that. I've only been dedicating more time to this more recently. I have a lot of high aspirations for being an educator within this market. If you value logical technical analysis, somebody who's trying to figure out the market just like you are, is a data-driven guy, and spends a lot of time charting, keep tuning back. I really appreciate it. So have a great weekend, guys. Get out there, enjoy the weather. It looks pretty nice here. Get out there, enjoy the weather, and I I will see you at latest on Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Oh, and don't forget to spread awareness and carry the education forward, as I always say.